Now, the number of children in Japan is at its lowest since 1950. Figures released by the Internal Affairs Ministry says there are just over 14.6 million children in the country.
You are walking into a quiet Japanese school, empty playgrounds, silent classrooms, and barely any children laughter. This isn't fiction, it's Japan's reality. With birth rates falling fast, schools are shrinking, and the country is facing a serious population crisis. Let's explore what's really going on in Japan. This demographic shift is having a profound impact on Japan's education system. Schools across the country are closing at a rate of 400 to 500 per year due to the declining number of students. In less populated areas, some schools have merged or closed entirely, while in city suburbs, large schools are struggling with excess capacity. Universities are also feeling the strain. Currently, 53% of private universities are failing to meet their admission quotas. The number of 18-year-olds is expected to shrink from the current 1.1 million to only 820,000 by 2040. The decline is promoting discussions about the need for university consolidation, downsizing, or potential closures. Japan recorded just 720,988 births in 2024, the lowest number ever in the country's history. That's the 9th year in a row where the number of babies born has gone down. The birth rate is expected to continue to decline in 2025. So, what's happening in Japan? Why are fewer people having children, even with government support? Let's break it down. Imagine a country where for every baby born, more than 2 people pass away. That's exactly what happened in Japan in 2024, and it's expected to continue in this year in 2025 as well. While less than 721,000 babies were born, an unbelievable 1.62 million people died. That means Japan's population is not only aging rapidly, but also shrinking at a faster pace than before. This kind of situation is called a population decline and can affect everything from the economy to schools, the workforce, and even those who take care of the elderly. So now a very genuine question arises in our minds. Didn't the government try to fix this? Yes, they did. Back in 2023, Japan's government, under the then Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, tried financial perks, improved parental leave, and childcare support to boost birth rates. But the truth is, it hasn't worked. Births dropped 5% in 2024, and the decline isn't slowing down. Curious about why policies fail and what actually works? Hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned as we break it all down without the boring bits. So why aren't people responding? One major reason is that fewer people are getting married, and in Japan, having children outside of marriage is still quite rare. So when marriage rates go down, so do birth rates. In 2024, the number of marriages did increase slightly, up 2.2% to around 499,999. That might sound promising at first glance, but if you zoom out, the picture changes. That small rise comes after several sharp drops in earlier years. For example, in 2020 when COVID-19 hit, marriages dropped 12.7%. So even with a small recovery in 2024, the total number of marriages is still far lower than what it used to be. And according to Takumi Fujinami, an economist at the Japan Research Institute, it was the COVID-19 pandemic that started the shift. The pandemic delayed weddings, made dating harder, and made people more financially cautious, all of which added to the decline in marriage and birth rates. He also said that this impact could linger on in 2025 as well, and it's almost true. In Japan, very few babies are born outside of marriage, as I mentioned earlier. That's different from many Western countries, where having children without getting married is more common. In Japan, this means marriage and childbirth are closely linked. So if fewer people are getting married, it's very likely that fewer babies will be born too. Now, here's where things get interesting. In 2024, South Korea's fertility rate actually went up from 0.72 in 2023 to 0.75 in 2024. That may seem like a small change, but it's a big deal. It's the first increase in years. It might be a sign that South Korea is slowly starting to turn things around in its fight against population decline. So, what's Japan's number? Well, according to the most recent data, Japan's fertility rate was 1.20 in 2023. That's higher than South Korea's, but still well below the replacement level of 2.1, which is the number of children needed per woman to keep the population stable. But before we jump to conclusions, experts like Takumi Fujinami are being cautious. He says it's still too early to compare the two countries in a meaningful way. There are many factors at play, and one-year data isn't enough to show a long-term trend. So what's helping South Korea, and can Japan also change in that way? Well, experts believe that South Korea's slight improvement in fertility rate came from well-planned support in three important areas: improving work-family balance by helping parents manage both jobs and family life, offering more affordable and reliable childcare, and making housing more accessible for young couples. What about Japan? Fujinami believes that for Japan to see similar improvement, it needs to create better job opportunities for young people and to close the gender gap. When women feel that they have to choose between a career and having kids, they may just end up delaying or skipping parenthood altogether. So the big question is, can Japan follow South Korea's path and spark a turnaround in its birth rate too? Or is the cultural and economic pressure still too heavy for change to come? We'll have to just see what the next few years bring. So what are the latest steps taken by the Japanese government to boost fertility rates? Can a 4-day workweek help Japan solve its baby crisis? Well, Tokyo thinks so. The Japanese government is planning to have a 3-day weekend every single week. Sounds amazing, right? Well, if you're a government employee in Tokyo, that might soon be a reality. Starting in April in 2025, Tokyo is planning to roll out a 4-day workweek for government workers. The idea is not just to make people happier at work, it's part of a much bigger plan to tackle Japan's record low birth rates and help people, especially women, manage both career and a family. So why the sudden change? For years, Japan has been struggling with a growing problem. Fewer and fewer babies are being born, while the number of elderly people is rising fast. Tokyo, being Japan's biggest and busiest city, is now stepping up with some bold moves. The new plan will let the government employees take 3 days off each week, and for parents with young children, there's even more good news. They'll be allowed to leave work early to spend more time with their kids, even if that means a slightly lower paycheck. It's all about giving people the flexibility they need to not feel forced to choose between their jobs and their families. Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike explained it best. She said, "We will review work styles with flexibility, ensuring no one has to give up their career due to life events such as childbirth or childcare." That's a big statement in a country where many women feel they have to quit their jobs once they become mothers. But it's not just about changing schedules. These changes are part of a much larger effort to improve work-life balance and make family planning easier. Koike added, "Now is the time for Tokyo to take the initiative to protect and enhance lives and livelihoods." It's a strong message that says, we care about your well-being and we want to make life better for families. So why is this such a big deal? Well, Japan is famous for its hard-working culture, but not always in a good way. People often work very long hours, and some are even victims of karoshi, which means death by overwork. That pressure has made a lot of young people think twice about getting married or starting families. After all, who has the time or energy to raise a child when you're barely home from work? Now, we throw it to you. Can policy changes spark a baby boom? Or is it already too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like and share if you thought that this was wild, and wait until you see why college enrollment is crashing hard, because it's all connected. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that'll make you rethink everything.